When people talk about moving to Panama, they usually talk about logistics, visas, or even the cost of living. But what surprised me most had nothing to do with any of that. It was the emotional reality, the difference between vacation Panama and real life Panama once the honeymoon phase wore off. There were a handful of things I didn't see coming, 4 to be exact, and they all revealed themselves only after I was already here, living my everyday life. Here's what surprised me most. Welcome to the Panama Podcast, from dreaming to doing. I'm your host, Melissa Darnay. If you want insider tips on living, investing, and having a blast in Panama, go to choosepanama.com and snag your free copy of Panama Uncorked. Number 1, how easy it is to make friends. This one surprised me right away, in the best way possible. Within my first month in Panama City, I'd made at least a dozen new friends. It was effortless. You meet people everywhere, and you already have something in common the moment you connect. You're all sharing the experience of living in Panama. There were cocktail hours, house parties, social events in my building, golf games, book clubs, dance classes, and dinner groups. Socially, it felt easy in a way adult life rarely does back home. In fact, I met more new people in 1 month than I had met in 5 years in the U.S. This had been one of my biggest fears before moving, so that sense of instant community felt like a huge relief and a wonderful surprise. Number 2, that some friendships are transient. What I didn't expect was how temporary some of those friendships would be. Making friends is easy here. Keeping them takes a different mindset. People come for a season, 6 months, a year. Sometimes they leave just when you feel close. The first few times that happened, it genuinely hurt. When I think about my very first friends, Kate and Liam, my heart still tightens. I met them the day I moved into my rental apartment in the city, and we became fast friends almost instantly. Over the years, they've come back to visit, and it's amazing how we can fall right back into that easy rhythm. But when they first left, I felt abandoned. I'm a little embarrassed to admit it even now, but when I think about how much I miss them, it can take my breath away. No one talks about that part of expat life. You learn to appreciate people deeply while they're in your life without assuming permanence. That's something that's really specific to expats. Number 3, long-term renting can make you feel unanchored. Before I moved to Panama, I bought an apartment off-plan. When I arrived, it wasn't finished yet, which meant I had to rent. I found a rental on Avenida Balboa with a beautiful water view and great amenities. On paper, it sounded perfect. I told myself it would be a fun adventure, but living in a space that wasn't mine mattered far more than I expected. I've always owned my own home since college. I'm not a renter by nature. I don't fully settle when I'm living in someone else's space, using someone else's things, sleeping in someone else's bed. Renting made everything feel temporary at the exact moment I was trying to build something permanent. When my apartment was finally ready, I thought that would be the turning point, except my furniture was still on a ship crossing the ocean. So for weeks, my entire home consisted of a blow-up mattress, a folding chair, a card table, and 1 frying pan. I remember sitting there one night thinking, I chose this. Not with regret, just honesty. The day my furniture arrived, something shifted. Not because the apartment suddenly looked beautiful, but because it finally looked like me. My bed, my couch, my things. That was the moment Panama stopped feeling like a place I was just staying and started feeling like a place I was living. There are a lot of people online who will tell you to rent a year before buying anything. For me, renting was a mistake. If I had rented any longer, I wouldn't have made it 6 months in Panama. I would have packed my bags and gone back to the U.S. I know myself, and that's the key. If you are renting right now, renting here may feel fine. But if you're someone who's used to owning your own home, someone who hates wasting money on rent, and someone who needs to feel settled, you probably won't truly land until you're in your own space. The important part is buying smart. I used to be a professional matchmaker. People paid me thousands of dollars because they didn't want to go on 50 first dates just to weed out the Mr. Wrongs. They wanted to meet 3 or 4 people and have one of them be their Mr. or Mrs. Right. That mindset carries directly into how we approach real estate. You want to see options, but ultimately, you're looking for the place that feels like home. When I found my first home in Panama, I knew. I fell in love with it the way you fall in love with a person. I couldn't sleep. I barely ate. I was that excited. That's what we want for you. That's why when you schedule a call with us, we don't start by asking how many bedrooms or bathrooms you want. We start with your lifestyle, how you want to spend your days, what your free time looks like, how you like to eat, how you live. If this is resonating with you and you'd like to chat more, go to choosepanama.com/contact and schedule your first call with my team. No pressure, just a real conversation. Number 4, it takes time to acclimate to real life. On vacation, you float. You eat out constantly. Someone else figures things out. Real life is different. Settling in means learning how to live normally again, where you buy your produce, where you find cheese you really like, where you grab your morning latte without thinking about it. It also means figuring out who your people really are, not just who you meet, but who you resonate with. It takes time to understand the streets, the traffic, the pace of Panama. In the beginning, and this really dates me, I didn't have a navigation system and Waze didn't even exist yet. I would plan my day around doing just one thing, one errand, one meeting. I knew I was going to get lost, so I built my day around that reality. Now I can do 10 things in a day without thinking about it because I know where everything is. That didn't happen quickly. It happened through repetition and familiarity. If things take longer at first, that's normal. It doesn't mean anything is wrong. It just means you're acclimating. What surprised me most wasn't that Panama was harder than I expected. It was that it required patience in a way vacation never does. Vacation Panama is easy to fall in love with. Real life Panama asks you to slow down, settle in, and let it become home. And once you do, it can be a really beautiful place to build a life. If these kinds of real conversations about living in Panama are helpful for you, make sure you're subscribed to the Panama Podcast. This podcast is about what life in Panama actually feels like. By subscribing, you're joining a community of like-minded people. What did you think of my surprises? Did they surprise even you? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, see you in Panama.